having a script is intimate. It's an intimate kind of journey to go on. It's much more, if you think about it, it's much more intimate than actually being on set. Being on set, you've got a lot of different people who have their particular roles. But when you're creating, when you're writing a script, you have this relationship with what you're writing down. And therefore, it's quite intimate. It's kind of vulnerable as well. But again, you're not looking over your shoulder, to see, oh, have I done this right or whatever. You'll go back to it and hopefully rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. When you go on set, then that script gets rewritten in a sense again, because the director will look at that script, or other people involved will be looking at that script. Even executive producers, right? They will have a say, and they're like, well, no, that's too expensive. No, this is your budget. Like, just stick to it. So what happens is there's going to be another rewrite when it's actually, your story will evolve and change when it's actually getting filmed as well. And of course, you've got your actors who are going to put in their, 2 cents in. I'm sure a lot more. So you've got them as well. You've got locations that might have to get changed. You have people that might be sick or can't do it, so they've got to figure out how they're going to, change the story to fit in so you can finish on time. COVID, right? So that's really shifted our perception of how to approach this filmmaking process. Locations, that's probably something that they've looked at for the bigger budget films. They're looking at probably also how many actors are involved, right? So you're not going to get crowds of people. And so that's always a good thing too. If you can make your script interesting but not have that many actors involved, that's great. Okay, so you've got all those kinds of things. So before you get on set, you're going to have your script, right? That's number one. Number two, when you're on set, or when your script's getting made, it's going to change on set because it's getting changed throughout the whole process. And then what happens is in the editing room, it's going to change again. So, the editor and probably the director with the editor, they'll go through it. Sometimes they might involve the writer, but generally speaking, they don't. The same as being on set, generally speaking, writers, it depends what sort of script it is, what the purpose is, but generally speaking, the writer isn't really on set. However, sometimes they do work together with, people like the directors, for example. Okay, so in the editing, you got your final edit, and that is your final story. So this is where it's evolved from what you first wrote down to the filming and then to the edit. And by the end of the production, it might look like a totally different script. And that's okay. Don't be precious about that. There are people on board that are experts at this, and they have their job, and that's what's going to happen, Don't be too precious. You have to trust the process sometimes. Now, there are people, of course, that are writer-directors, and for the next film that I want to do, I will be the writer-director. But in having said that, I'm also going to allow other people to have their opinions, which is really important in my books, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's not about me writing the script how I envisioned it and then having it filmed and produced and all the rest of it. For me, it's all about me writing the script and then other people coming on board to make it even better. And that's my goal, because it's that kind of thing that's going to grab your audience. And you have to let that other stuff just go, right? You can't have an ego, Yes, I know there are some occasions that you want it a certain way and it's got to be that certain way because it's important to you. And that's fine, that's good. It might be to honor someone that's passed away. It could be any of that. Maybe it's something to do with your culture. You don't want to change the cultural aspect of your script.